What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another episode of Down Lines. This is the second attempt that we've had of recording this. The last one we went like 20 minutes, and then I found out Ethan's audio wasn't recording. So now I hope he's here with me. I hope he's here with me and my good co-host Ethan. I can see the thing going on in OBS, so I know he's good.
We should be fine.
Yeah, we should be good. I can see the mixer, whatever the hell it's called in OBS. I can see it going up, so I know we're good. I know we're good now. We talked for like 20-25 minutes about stuff, and then I realized it wasn't recording, so it's kind of tough. But we got a second little attempt going. Ethan, tell everyone how you're doing again for a second time.
Yeah, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Down the Line. I didn't really get through too much, to be completely honest.
We didn't.
So
we got through some light stuff.
We'll get it right this time. I'm convinced. But
yeah.
Just we talking about. We started off talking about how the leagues looked the past week or so, and talked about some of the big games that have happened, and like that. The first thing I remember saying was the Pirates Rockies game, 17-16.
Yeah.
What a game that was.
Yeah, and I'd said this on my first time going around, but I'd seen obviously, like, you and I both know, I'm saying it for everyone else now, but I'd seen a tweet after the game where I guess it was someone like live tweeting whatever in the first inning, and they're like, watch them come back and win, like whatever. I don't remember if they had the score down right.
Yeah, they did.
But they did. Yeah. And then I saw it after the game, and I'm like, man, y'all are on that. Some people just got it, man. Some people just simply got it, and hats off. Sometimes, listen, you can smell a fold coming. You can smell when the team's about to bottle it. So some people just got that sense for it. Or sometimes they're just hyper doomer posting, and it's bound to hit a few times. But I can't even lie. Yeah. I'm a little bit of a doomer poster. I think I can't lie. I'm not gonna doomer posting so much more fun. I can't lie. Doomer posts are so much more funny than happy like hype posting or whatever, man. There's some elite follows on Twitter that they're just doomer posting the entire time. They're talking about how awful their team is. Meanwhile, their team's in first place the entire time, and I can't lie, they're kind of funny.
The fake pessimistic.
The fake pessimistic. Like, dude, I went in. We absolutely just like bent the Rockies over backwards in the series we played against them. Scored like, what was it, 45 runs in 3 games? Yeah. And I tweeted before the series started, man, we gotta play the 20-25.
I was genuinely worried. I was genuinely like scared we were gonna like lose 2 or 3. Genuinely.
I tweeted, I was like, man, we just we bottled this series, and now we gotta go face the 2025 champion Colorado Rockies. Like, man, who has it worse than me?
Unfortunately, the answer to that, well, not unfortunately for us, but unfortunately the answer for that is the Rocky fans have it worse. And
Rockies fans do have it worse, and
I am so sorry. I really am.
That's a fan base I feel for is like so bad, because like nothing of positive significance has happened to that franchise in so long, probably since like Trevor Story was like really like getting it on as a rookie, or I guess you could say like either of the times they made the playoffs. And was it 17-18 or was it 18-19? I can't remember which set of. No, it was
well, I know the Walters the Tony Walters walk off was against wait, no, that was, never mind, that was when he was with the Cubs.
It was 17-18, I think, because the Cubs were the wild card team, and they still won their mind. Yeah, it was 17-18.
Or that was against the Cubs, I mean. Yeah, it was 17, that was 18. Yeah,
17-18. Dude, you know what I miss now that I'm thinking about that? Because I'm thinking about when they played game 163 for the Dodgers for that division. I miss game 163s, man. Those were some. Those were fun, man.
I can't believe they took. Manfred said, "Oh, game 163. Every baseball fan in the world eyes on this game. Winner goes to the playoffs. Winner gets home field. Whatever the implications would have been." And he said, "Nah, we good.
Because the thing is, you don't really get game 163s very. No. You didn't get them very often. What was the the only like relatively recent ones I can remember? I genuinely think that Rockies Dodgers one. That's the last one that I can remember. And
it is the last one.
Was that 2017, 2018, whatever year it was?
Yeah, 2018. We actually had two of them that year because the Brewers and the Cubs also had one
Oh
for the
my
division
God,
the
you're right.
same
I
year.
remember. Yo, I remember watching that in class, and I was in like grade 8. I remember pulling that up. Actually, I pulled it up on my phone. I was watching that, and one of my friends he came over and he was watching. Right, he's not even a baseball fan, but he was a Bucks fan because he was Greek and obviously like Giannis and stuff. So he kind of like he wasn't like a Brewers fan, but he would like soft root for the Brewers, right? Just because like they're Milwaukee, right?
Yeah.
And I remember he came over and he was watching, and I don't remember what the result of that game was, but those
The
were
Brewers
Brewers
won.
won.
I
Yeah,
don't
that's.
remember the exact score.
Oh yeah,
But
that's right because they played the Rockies the wild card game. I literally just said that. Um,
yeah.
Dummy.
And then the Brewers swept the Rockies.
Yeah, I remember that. That was all
Yeah.
that for nothing. It's crazy. No man, I miss Game 163s. Those were fun because there was that. There's obviously the iconic that Longoria walk off. That was a Game 163. I'm pretty sure, right? Or was that a game one?
No,
Or
that
was
was the
that
last game
162?
of the season to send them to the playoffs.
Oh, okay. I thought it was a 163. But I don't know why I don't know why they got rid of that and made it like tiebreakers. I think that's so much more lame because I mean, on one hand, I guess it does give more weight to the season series, but at the same time, Game 160, they're literally just playoff games. They are not technically playoffs, but
Yeah.
they have the vibe of a playoff game. Like if you get
Exactly.
in, you're making the wild card, or you're getting your division or whatever it is, man. They need to bring those back in the next CBA. The CBA expires after 2026, I think. So listen, y'all gotta listen. Any players, any officials, y'all gotta bring back
But
the
yeah,
163s, man. Even if we don't get
that's
them,
the thing.
but like,
Like, if it happened every year, I'd understand saying, like, all right, it's getting a bit ridiculous. But it was so rare to the point where, like, there's been in the last 10 years, there was only those two, I'm pretty sure.
yeah, and I
So it's
mean,
like, it's
I guess
so rare to the point where if it does happen, why not just let it happen?
exactly
Because,
like, and it's like the thing is, it's like, it's rare, it's fun, it's really fun. Those games were so. I remember being like really. I'm not even a fan of either of those teams, but I was hyped for those games because I'm like, oh shit, like this is getting real. Like it's the first game 163 that ever happened since I started watching the sport. And damn it, those are probably gonna be the last ones too. I'm like, man, I don't know. I wish they would really bring them back. I think that those were really fun. I really want those to come back. Um. Anyways, I think we're kind
do
of
you
done.
remember, do you remember 2021, though, where
If
it
you
was
if you say what I think you're gonna
Jays,
say, I
it
might
was like
scream.
Jays, Yankees, Mariners, and Red Sox all, like, tied.
Oh, they were all neck and Oakland wasn't very far behind us too.
No.
Wait, were the four teams like actually like tied, or were they just like right in the same mix, like within like a game? Or
I
half a game
think
of each
it
other?
was tied if I'm recalling correctly.
I don't remember it being tied. You know what's crazy? We would have had a game 163 that year too if Devers didn't hit that goddamn home run against Washington.
Oh my. Or yeah. So
I remember
yeah,
watching.
no, we were one back, and I think it was. Well, let me just pull this up
I
quickly.
remember watching that too. I was heartbroken because there
Okay,
was like,
no. So it
but
wasn't tied, but I remember what happened was there would have been a tie, and so the four teams had because I was going into last game or whatever. There was a possibility, and if it would have been a tie, then the teams would have like chosen who they play. It was really weird. It would have been like a little
oh my
mini
god, wait!
tournament
I
like
actually
thing.
kind of remember that now. I
Yeah, because I knew that at
kind
least
of remember.
two teams. I knew at least two teams were tied, and then I didn't know if it was that the Jays were also tied and missed by missed by that
Because the
tiebreaker.
Yankees and Red Sox, I think both won 92. Toronto won
Yes, that's what it
91,
was. I was misremembering it, but yeah,
and
that's
then
but
the Mariners, I'm sure, were like another
I
game or
wasn't
two
saying
out.
it did happen, but it could have
Yeah, it was
happened in
really
that
close.
situation. Yes, yeah.
Yeah. I get what you're saying. I thought you meant like a week away from the playoffs, they were like all tied or something like that. But
No, but like they were like all right there and had, let's say, the whatever happened in the last game of the season, like, or the last 2 days even happened, it could have been a four-way tie in which that would have happened.
yeah, I get you. So yeah, one of the other things we want to talk about here, obviously we've had some some big games, some teams jump into playoff races, some teams kind of stumble a little bit since the All-Star break, trade deadline, all that. Another thing that happened, completely removed from all of that, big contract extension. Former number one prospect Roman Anthony signed a big extension with the Boston Red Sox. worth 8 years, 130. Also a club option for the last year, which would be 2034. So they are buying out 2 pre-arbitration years, all 3 arbitration years, and then basically 4 free agent years because they have the club option. And if Roman Anthony is going to continue to be good, which he's already a rookie playing at a 5 WAR pace, so I mean he's I'm not saying it's certain because anything can happen at the end of the day.
Yes.
But he's probably going to end up getting that club option exercise, and it's probably going to be really good value for the Red Sox. We were talking on the first go-around how I actually completely misunderstood the contract completely because when it first got announced, number one, they actually, I don't think when it like first broke, like when Passan or whoever tweeted, I don't remember seeing anything about the team option in there. And also, Roman Anthony got called up in like June. I didn't think he would have a full year of service time by the end of the year. But judging by the breakdown, I'm looking at it on Spot Rec right now, and judging by this breakdown, he will have had a year of service time by it because he will only have 5 more years of team control after this year, like before the extension. I mean, so I actually thought that they were like just really giving him a lot of money during his pre-arb years, and granted, he's probably making a little bit more with this contract than he would have otherwise made in pre-arb. But it's like
2.625 and then 4.625 in the pre-arb years.
Yeah, it's probably like a marginal difference. Maybe the second pre-arb year he would have got this, or maybe he would have got slightly more.
But you're obviously giving him a bit more money now to get him kind of cheaper later on, because in his 27, 28, and 29 age seasons, he will be making 23, 25, 29, which for a guy like him who is a very polished hitter already.
Exactly,
really has a lot of tools that he's using in his favor already in his career, as well as the defense that he brings at a position where you would like to have a good defender. Like, obviously, anywhere in the outfield, you want to have a guy who can defend, and he's shown that he's a plus defender already.
Oh, exactly. Absolutely. He's been a
definitely
really good
could be making
player.
North of $30 million on the open market at that point.
Yeah,
so
and he's going to grade out. He's going to grade out really well, pretty much no matter what position in the outfield he's playing. He's actually low-key. The Red Sox are actually getting really good money during his like last few arbitration years because he's only going to get 19.6 during his last arbitration year. He almost certainly would have got well over 20 otherwise. Maybe even I think his second arb year is like pretty okay value too. But
and we've seen more teams do this. I mean, we saw Churio in the Brewers last year. It was 8 years at like 80. We saw Acuna do it like, that wasn't more recent, but that was.
Hell, we saw the Red Sox do it earlier this year. They gave Christian Campbell his like 7, 8, whatever year extension. Whatever extension, that extension at the beginning of the year. Obviously, Campbell ended up getting sent down at a certain point, but I'm sure he'll be back and he'll be just fine.
And also, obviously, that's way less money than Roman Anthony's making too.
That was like half the money. That was like half the money over the same term. But yeah, like you said, his on base is damn near 400. He has one of the best walk rates in the majors. Like,
crushes the ball. He hits it so hard.
Yeah, he gets barrels pretty well considering he's a rookie. Speed. Yeah. Like, that's something that's not going to go away.
No.
Like, already in his rookie year, he's a solid base runner too. That hitting is only going to get even better. I'm sure he's going to eventually.
He's doing everything well right now.
He's eventually going to find a little bit more of a power stroke, I'm sure, because he wasn't necessarily like a power hitter in the minors, but he had some years, some time in the minors where he was having an ISO around 200 or so. So I think even if he gets around a 170 ISO at his peak, which probably ended up being higher, take that, you take his defense in the outfield, it's going to be a really good value deal for the Red Sox. I mean, also another one that we saw as a precedent, I guess this one's a little bit more extreme because they locked him up basically for his not whole career, because it was till like he was like 34, but Tatis, he signed like that 13, 14 year deal, whatever it was. But yeah, good deal for the Red Sox. A good deal for Roman Anthony, because you know what, you're a rookie, you don't know what's going to happen. You could have an injury, you could get the yips, who knows, right? But not saying I think that's going to happen, because Roman Anthony's kind of a stud. But just secure that wealth. Like, you just hit the majors 2 months ago and you're getting $130 million plus thrown at you. I don't think that includes the value of the team option, actually. Why not take it? Plus, you're going to have you're gonna hit free agency when you're like 30, 31 anyways. You're gonna be still getting a really good payday then, assuming that you're still really good, which he probably will be. So why not? It's not really like there's much downside to it. I guess the only negative that I can possibly think of if you're Roman Anthony is that you're not going to get like a Juan Soto mega deal, but even so, I think if you get another, let's say 7-8 year deal after he ends this contract, I think it's totally fine given the amount of total money you're going to end up making anyways.
Yeah. And as a Jays fan, you know what pains me the most about the whole Roman Anthony?
I don't need this demon in my division.
Oh, that's not what I was gonna say. Do you remember the 2022 MLB draft?
I know exactly what you're gonna say, and I don't want to.
It was in the compensation picks.
Yep.
77th overall, Toronto Blue Jays select shortstop Tucker Toman, 21 years old. Pretty sure he's still in single A. 78th overall, Jays select Cade Doughty, who is second baseman, and is 24 and still in Double A, and then 79th overall pick on the Red Sox.
They passed on him twice right there. That's crazy.
Roman Anthony.
They passed on him twice. Like, that's nuts.
That hurts.
That does hurt. Look, I don't want to think about it.
You can go to every single draft ever and pinpoint like a team selecting somebody over who they should have, and the fans are upset. Obviously, it doesn't mean much because every single team in the league passed on him twice, at least.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the craziest ones is the Angels using the Mark Teixeira compensation draft pick on. You know exactly who.
Yeah.
On Mike Trout. What's funny is, pretty sure Randall Grichuk went a pick before Trout, which I think is really funny. Demon Grichuk, by the way.
Yeah.
But yeah, man.
Wait, could you imagine the Angels took Grichuk and then said, "All right, let's go with like a pitcher or something," and took like I don't know, like a high school arm or something. Like that would have been.
The Angels get clowned already so much right now. Imagine how much more they'd get clowned if they passed on Mike Trout and he ended up just being like the best player of his generation.
Yeah, could
you imagine? It would be probably even worse because he'd probably end up going to a good team. A team that allowed him to play more than 3 playoff games.
The next 4 picks, the Brewers, the Mariners, and the Red Sox and Yankees. Could you imagine?
I am very glad I don't have to deal with that reality where he's a Yankee or a Red Sox.
Yeah, I love Trout, love cheering for him.
I'm glad it
would not be as easy to do.
I'm glad I don't have to. I'm glad I didn't have to deal with Mike Trout, Mookie Betts outfield. I'm very glad and don't tell me they wouldn't have drafted Mookie Betts because he was a second baseman in the minors. So I don't really think that would have changed much. I'm so happy I don't have to deal with
it. Here's the thing though, if they get Trout there, they're probably not getting Mookie, just not because of fit, but just because where they picked. And I get Mookie Betts was a late round pick. He was round like 5, I believe. But who's to say like they wouldn't have if they were doing that well? Like if they got Trout and they were doing that well, who knows if that's even something they're looking at there? They may think like we're looking at pitching now, for example, if they got that bad.
Maybe. And
they could have it's one of those like domino effects. But one thing happens and the rest falls into place.
I guess, but at the same time, like Mookie wasn't even he was drafted before Trout hit the bigs.
I'm just personally saying like you don't know what happens. Like for all you know, Trout was progressing and like he was like, oh my god, this is the number 1 prospect in baseball. This guy's unbelievable.
True. That is true. Actually, he did jump up charts. In all fairness,
yeah.
But I don't really think it's that.
But again, it's one of those things where it's such a late round pick that Mookie was, where probably doesn't matter because you take who you want there. You take for who you like. You don't necessarily take best player available, but. I just hypothetically you don't know if it happens, but if they got both, that would have been so.
I'm so glad I don't have to. I'm so glad I don't live in that reality. And I don't really think it's that. I don't think it's that ridiculous to say they still would have got him because he was drafted as a second baseman.
No, I think they
definitely could have. But
I mean, that draft. That draft as a whole, the Mookie draft, was just unbelievable. Because I think that was either Garrett Cole went first overall. You got Springer. You got Jose Fernandez. You got Lindor. Um, you got Snell. I'm missing more names, obviously. I can't remember off the top of my head.
The top 10 on this draft, I actually have it pulled up in front of me right now. So the top 10 on this is so funny because there are some absolute studs in here and there's some absolute shitters right here. You ready for this? So Garrett Cole, number 1, obviously. We know how he's been. Seattle Mariners at 2. They took Danny Hultzen.
Interesting pick.
Like,
did he play in the major? Did he make his debut?
So he has pitched a grand total of 3 1/3 major league innings. He did not touch the majors until 2019 with the Cubs. He has not touched the majors since.
How'd he do?
I mean, 3 1/3 innings is more than I pitched in the bigs.
I know how many was his ERA?
I already forgot what it was. I just had it pulled up. I think it was 0.
I
think it was 0 actually.
0. Wow, they didn't give this guy time. Wow, that's crazy. Actually,
hey man, they didn't.
This guy's insane.
They didn't give him no time. 3rd was Trevor Bauer, which
he has a lower career ERA than Randy Johnson. I just want to say that. So.
Yeah, this is true. 3rd was Trevor Bauer, which thumbs down. Even if he was like, he had his moments as a baseball pitcher, but we don't fuck with Trevor Bauer around here.
And I'm pretty sure Cole and Bauer were actually both from the same school, if I recall correctly.
Oh, true. Actually, I think I remember hearing that. Yeah.
I think they were both at UCLA.
Yeah. 4th was Dylan Bundy. I'll skip a few. There was Bubba Sterling, number 5. Anthony Rendon went 6. Archie Bradley went 7. Number 8 and 9, the Cleveland. At the time, they were the Cleveland Indians. Still, they took Francisco Lindor at 8, and the Chicago Cubs took Javier Baez at 9. And then, interesting one here, Corey Spangenberg went 10 to the Padres. So
that's a name.
That is a name. You know who went number 13 to the New York Mets?
The Mets. I think that was Nimmo, right?
Yo, that's Brandon Nimmo, baby. Shout out.
I have a draft card from him from that year.
I have a big ass binder of baseball cards like right under my desk, and there's a Brandon Nimmo card in there. And I had that card like before Nick was crazy about it. I had that card in like 2016, 17 or something. I just had like a bunch of cards. I think there's a fucking Rougned Odor card in there. I remember when I opened the thing and I saw that, I was like, oh hell no. I was like, man, I don't fuck with this. It's still in there because like it's at the end.
Yeah, we're Jose Bautista people on this side.
Exactly. It's still in there though. It ain't that deep. But like the second one in there, the second card overall in that thing. The first one's a Josh Johnson card, and that second one, it's the bat flip card from that year.
That's fire.
That's like the second card in there. I'd love that. Anyways, another thing we want to talk about. This is one of the things we talked about on the first attempt of recording this. But last year, obviously, the Detroit Tigers were not doing so hot around midseason. On July 31st, they were 5 games under 500. All right, they were not doing too hot. They were, if my math is right, 5.5 out of a playoff spot behind the Red Sox, who had the 3rd wildcard spot at the time. They weren't doing too hot. But obviously, with the benefit of hindsight, we know exactly what happened.
I'm looking at it right now. On this day, the day of recording this podcast on the 7th of August, 2025, exactly 1 year ago today, on the same day, 2024, the Tigers were 55-60, 12.5 back in the division.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Fangraphs projected them at a 0.6% to make the playoffs.
And obviously we know what happened because they stormed the hell back and they made the playoffs. And it was kind of magical. It was kind of magical near the end of that season. That team felt different. Obviously,
the Great Tigers, as they called them.
Obviously, everyone loves an underdog story. That is nothing new. Everyone loves seeing an underdog succeed. I think there's like different types of underdog stories too. Like there's a team being projected to do poorly at like the start of the season. Like let's say for example, this year I am sure that a lot of people were not quite as high on, let's say, Toronto to do really good. And I don't really blame them because coming into the season, I didn't think they were that. I said if the stars aligned, they were like an 85 win team.
I'm looking now again because I pulled it up for this. Preseason, Fangraphs had the Jays at a 43.6% chance to make the playoffs, and the projected win total was 82.7.
I'm actually surprised it was that high, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I think like the average person like generally had it like a lot lower than that, and I can't say I blame them because coming into the year, I there was so much things I saw with that team, but it's like that doesn't hit quite the same as like a team that, let's say they start out. I mean, like the Tigers did last year. They were like damn near 110 games into the season, and you could basically say, yeah, no, there's zero chance they're making the playoffs. All of a sudden, they storm back and they're just in it, right? And it's like, what the hell happened here? That story, when they go on a run like that late season, that hits so different.
It does.
But
before we get into the teams that we think could do it this year, what team do you think has the biggest discrepancy of, oh wow, this team was supposed to do this and they just did the complete opposite? Because I'm looking at it right here, and these numbers are insane to me. Who do you think it is?
In terms of
either massively underperforming or overperforming.
Massively underperforming versus massively overperforming. Let me think.
Like, what's one team that I'm thinking of one team and I'm looking at the numbers. It was one or the other. They either overperformed or underperformed, but it was like insane. It wasn't like slightly. It was like, oh my god, what the hell happened?
I am going to say that Toronto was one of the overperforming ones. Wait, do you have one of each? Wait, do you have one of each?
No, I'm doing this? One in particular. That's like...
Oh, there's one in particular that you're looking at.
Yeah. I'll tell you, they underperformed this team.
Underperformed this team. Okay, is it the Diamondbacks? We're talking
about
the
Braves.
The Braves. You know what? Yeah.
Projected win total 94 to make the playoffs, 93.4%. To win the division, 64.2%.
Yeah.
And to win the World Series, 15.8%.
15.8%, and now you're 20 games up, 19 games under 500 is kind of ridiculous, man. That division, I thought that was going to be a dogfight between all three of those teams, them, the Mets, and the Phillies.
I did too.
I thought they were going to be in a
too. I didn't think the Marlins would have a better shot at the playoffs than the Braves, that's for sure.
Yeah, I didn't think they would. Not just a better shot, they're damn near 10 games better than the Braves right now. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how I didn't see the Braves, actually. I'm looking at that. I'm like, yeah, duh. Yeah, man.
But yeah, that brings us to the point of the teams that we think can make that run, and I did bring them up for a reason. The Marlins are one of the teams that I think.
Yeah, I have one team in each league. Obviously, we each know who our teams are. We already.
Yes.
This is the second attempt go around, but obviously the Marlins are one. They came out of the All-Star break. They won damn near every. I'm pretty sure they won every series they played, including a sweep of the Yankees, until they hosted the. I almost said the Rockets, the Astros, and then they lost a 3-game set there.
Out of the break,
I think that sweep against the Yankees got them to 500, and then they've back down.
Out of the break, they won 2 or 3 against the Royals, who saw good team.
Granted, they've been on a surge. They've been on a surge too lately.
Yeah, they took 2 out of 3 against the Padres. Mm-hmm. They then took 2 of 3 against the Brewers. They then took 2 out of 3 against the Cardinals, which was just, obviously Cardinals aren't some incredible team, but still won the series. Swept the Yankees, and then we're kind of here now where they just lost the series to the Astros, but obviously the Astros are a good team.
Mm-hmm. You're not going to win every series.
Yeah, now they're playing the Braves, and as the time that I'm reading it or saying this, they are up by 3 runs in the 3rd inning. So
they are. For some reason, when I look at it, I'm on the Score app, and I'm looking at the schedule for their thing. The Scores thing is hosted really weird because it says MIA 2-5. So it made me think that they were down 5-2.
Yeah.
And I click on it, and it says 5-2.
No, it always shows on the score. It shows the road team first.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. Like when
I don't know why I wouldn't adjust based on what team you're looking at.
It is like a thing that people say. Whenever I'm saying the score of something, I always say the higher number first. What do you do?
Yeah, absolutely. I say 5. I'm not going to say the lower number. I'm not going to say they're losing 2-5. I mean, maybe
or in this case, if it said like Marlins, if it just said like versus Braves or whatever, and it says 2-5, I would automatically think they're losing 5-2.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's what I thought too.
So yeah,
That's what I saw. I was about to say, damn, they're
that's what
losing
I'm
5-2, and then you said they're up. They're up. I'm like, wait, what? I'm like, what are you talking about?
yeah,
Um,
yeah. It's definitely.
but yeah, man, they have some damn nice pitching, man. Obviously, we were saying there was a lot of like Edward Cabrera trade market rumors. He's been so good this year, and his numbers look even better if you remove his very bad April. I think his ERA in April was like 7 or something like that. It was kind of putrid. But since then he's been like elite. Yuri Perez has been ridiculous. They low-key got it. Obviously on offense too. Like Augustin Ramirez has low-key been kind of nice. He's been kind of slugging for them behind the plate. He has 17 home runs and 380 plate appearances. Is slugging .460. Obviously Kyle Stowers has been mashing the hell out of the ball. They've got some pretty okay pieces around them too. Like generally, that squad has been pretty solid, and obviously they've gone on a surge lately. They just hit 500, and then they like fell under just a little bit. Even Loki Otto Lopez for them has been doing like not bad as like an all around player. He's been like kind of solid for them. He's been like a solid.
They've got a
base
bunch
runner.
of guys who've just been like, I don't think anyone would have thought that Ramirez would have been in contention for Rookie of the Year before the season.
I wouldn't have thought about it.
I would wager that the average fan wouldn't even know who that is.
He was not on my radar at all, and respect.
No.
Shout out Ramirez. He's hitting third in that lineup. That's got to tell you something. Even though it's like not a crazy team in the Marlins, you gotta be something to hit third in a major league lineup.
Yeah.
So,
also, no one expected the I guess the breakout season that Kyle Stowers is having.
Yo, the Orioles are taking that back 10 times out of 10. They're trying to call the Marlins right now. Say, can you check that paperwork again? Can you make sure that that's right? They're trying to. I bet they're trying to pull some finesse in that front office right now.
Another guy that's having a great year is Heriberto Hernandez. I mean, he has a 144 WRC plus, and like, obviously hasn't played like the entire season doing this, but in the last like month or two, he's been unbelievable. Just a lot. It's just guys stepping up, and if you're a fan of this team, you gotta be happy about the direction of the future of this team.
Yeah, because like the thing is, like the Marlins have like generally been obviously they made a wild card like 2 years ago, but outside of that and their one they made in like 2020 was the expanded year. Outside of those two, when was the last time they made the playoffs? Was it?
I am gonna say that it was when they won the World Series.
Like what? Yeah, because that's the last. That's the last one I can remember, unless they made it like during the 2000s.
Because I remember when it happened. I remember talking to John, our friend who's a Marlins fan. To those who don't know John, great guy, I love him. I remember at the time of the COVID series back in 2020 when they faced the Braves. Before that, I remember him saying that the only 2 times that the Marlins made the playoffs. They've never lost it. Like, going into that, they never lost a series. And and then obviously since then they haven't won a game because they got swept in 2020 by the Braves, and then they got swept.
Hey, well, in all fairness, they were still on track to do that in 2020 because they swept the Cubs in that wild card series too. That was like a 2-7 matchup. I remember that. That was crazy. But
I completely forgot about that.
Hey man,
right?
Lock in. No, I'm kidding. But like, if I was a fan of the Marlins, especially because they had like a low key like really promising team in like the mid 2010s, and then it just amounted to literally nothing. The height of that team was like a 77 or 80 win season, somewhere in that kind of ballpark.
Yelich, Ozuna, Stanton,
Real Muto, Justin Bour, man. D. Gordon won a batting title.
It really is what could have been, and obviously the late Jose Fernandez, may he rest in peace. I mean, he was looking like he could have been the face of baseball in terms of pitching.
No, literally, because he was one of the best young pitchers in the game, and obviously, like, you don't foresee that kind of thing, but even outside of that, it's like, even if you kind of exclude that thing and you take it out of the mix, they haven't really had much to root for or much to really get excited about on the level of some other teams, right? Like, they have generally been, like, kind of bottom of the barrel when it comes to, like, how much hope a team has. They've been in, like, Rockies territory. Kind of. I'd honestly argue that in the last 10 years, the Rockies' hopes have peaked higher. Because at least they had guys. You know what I mean? and they kind of felt similar to those Marlins teams, kind of in a way. I don't know, that vibe of the Arenado Story, Charlie Blackmon, those teams. It kind of felt like a similar kind of vibe to the. It felt like the Stanton Marlins if they were good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like I'd argue they even had a little bit more to root for, but obviously since that last playoff appearance they've had fuck all to root for, and they've been like one of those miserable franchises. But
since 2010, there's only one team in baseball that have less wins than the Marlins, and it is the Rockies.
Yeah, like those are the two bottom of the barrel teams in terms of hope. That's why I'm really happy for Marlins fans that they're low-key going on a roll. I hope that they do something. I hope even if they don't make the playoffs, I hope that they give the fans something to cheer for the rest of the season. Even if they don't make it, if you can give the Mets or Padres a run for your money and maybe say, shit, what can we do next year? I think that would be really cool. I think that would be really cool for them. I hope they do something. That'd be.
I remember having a talk before the deadline, because I know there was a lot of people that wanted their team to get Sandy, or Sandy was just a name that was being thrown around. And I don't think it made sense personally from a, for a contender to kind of say, you know what, we want Sandy at this point of the season, because you're probably not going to fix him in the 2 months left in the season. That's something you do in the offseason. The Marlins have some really, really good young pitching. They have Yuri Perez, who's been good. They have Edward Cabrera, who's been good. And I'm using good as a loose term there. They've been very good.
They've been ridiculous.
You could afford, with some of the prospects you have, they have Thomas White right now, who has been absolutely incredible in the minor leagues this year. They have Robbie Snelling, who has also been very good in the minor leagues. They have some young pitchers coming up. You could move Sandy and get some young bats potentially. Yeah. And really just kind of make this lineup even better and be able to compete in the next couple of years, because the pitching is there. The starting pitching is there already.
Yeah, or hell, man, you could even just if you really want to try and let your nuts hang, you can really try and just what can we fix with Sandy? Because the word has been that it's really just command thing, right? And so like I said, I my thought process is kind of the same as yours of why would I do this during the season? This is an off-season type of move.
You want him to go to the complex, you want him to work with the coaches when the pitchers and catchers report. That's when you want to start to kind of pinpoint what it is that's going wrong and how you can fix it. And you use the spring. You use even before spring training starts. Yeah. You use that time to kind of, fix, or at least try to fix what the issue is.
Absolutely.
It's not going to be done. A contender's not going to trade for him and hope he just magically becomes better, but because that's just not how it works.
Yeah, exactly. And whether you said it, whether it's trading him for young bats or just trying to say, all right, what can we fix with this and that? Imagine, could you imagine he gets? You don't even have to say he gets back to Cy Young Sandy. Imagine he just goes back to being obviously this is still a really, really, really good pitcher, but a 3.50 ERA pitcher alongside what you're expecting from Yuri Perez and alongside what you're expecting from Edward Cabrera. That'd be a ridiculous 1-2-3. You add a little bit of firepower in the offense. That team would be nuts. That team would be kind of ridiculous.
I mean, they're definitely looking good. And we saw what they did. I mean, they had Luzardo, who definitely wasn't, had the greatest season the year before. I'm pretty sure it was pretty injury-riddled. I'm not 100% sure. I'm pretty sure he did have some injuries last season.
Last year it was a little tough because, yeah, you're right. He was obviously very limited. He only pitched 66 and 2/3 innings last year. And
but it looked
his ERA was 5,
it out,
right?
It felt like.
But the thing is, right, the 2 years before that, he had pitched 279 innings combined between the 2 innings 2 years before that. One of those, again, was an injury season where he had only 100 innings. His ERA was 3.48. He was striking guys out. He wasn't really walking too many guys. His walks per nine was below 3 combined between the 2 years. His home runs per nine was just around 1, so not really ridiculous contact numbers against him. You were getting some okay volume. In 2023, he pitched almost 180 innings and had almost a 3.6 ERA, almost a 4 WAR. That's really, really good. That's almost what he's been this season. Obviously, his ERA is a little inflated because he's either been like ridiculous, or he's been like awful. He had two outings in a row where he gave like 20 runs total, but especially because he had control too. I don't know. I felt like that was weird from them. But they've had guys, and I don't know if they're a team for next year. I'd count out. I wouldn't count them out, but I'm just really glad that they're kind of putting something together right now at this point of the season.
Exactly.
I think it's a really fun
And they're
thing to
watch. Doing it. And the thing that is, and this is where the age old question of, I don't know if I should word it like this, but it's obviously how a lot of people talk about, oh, they need to add a salary cap, they need to add a whatever, and to me, with this Marlins team, with how they're doing right now, they don't even need to go out and spend hundreds of millions of dollars. Right now, they have the third lowest payroll, if I recall correctly, in baseball, or something along like.
They're down there. They're down there. I don't remember exactly what it is, but I know they're down there. Yeah.
The point is, you don't need to sign Kyle Tucker or something. You don't need to go out there and sign the top free agents. There are some solid free agents you can get without that's somewhere in between going all out and digging in the bargain bin. There are some guys you can go that won't cost you an arm and a leg to just make the team slightly better. And by slightly, I don't mean slightly as in like, you add like a 1.5 WAR player and call it an off season. I'm saying slightly as in like you go from being a team who's fighting for a wild card to a team who could be comfortably in that second or third wild card for not a ton of money, and you can really just kind of hope that your prospects come in and fill the rest of the spots nicely, which this year they've done more than that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The other team I think we really had like one team in each league. I think that these are the two teams that would kind of fit that bill the best. Obviously the Marlins were kind of the one in the NL. I don't really think any other team in the NL would kind of fit that same bill of being like the same type of team that the Tigers were last year, just starting off really bad and then just storming back into the season to make the playoffs.
Before we stopped the recording, we were talking about the Diamondbacks as like an interesting team because their offense is up there with some of the elite teams.
Absolutely, they have one of the best
teams that have a higher
WRC
WRC plus. The Yankees, Jays, Dodgers, Cubs, and the Mariners are tied.
Yeah, they had one of the best lineups in ball before they gutted it. And really, what it was their pitching. Yeah. It was their bullpen, especially. Their bullpen was bottom 5.
Fourth worst. The only teams to have a worse bullpen ERA: the A's, the Rockies, the Nationals. And I'm not gonna say that their starting pitching was like so good to the point where it was just the bullpen is the issue. I would say the issue was definitely the bullpen or the pitching staff as a whole, but it was just the bullpen specifically. Because there are so many times where I tuned into a Diamondbacks game and it was like a close game, and then I check back a couple minutes later and I see they're losing by 3 or 4 runs, and then I turn it back on and I see them make some insane comeback just to lose again. It's like.
Yeah,
that seems like the story of the season.
Yeah, it's been bad. Those type of teams, I really hate when those types of teams sell. Like when they're like have a really good offense or really good pitching, and then they need a couple bats, they need a couple arms, and then they sell. Obviously, in this case, you had so many expirings. Like I'm not going to say they shouldn't have sold. This case was Suarez was
bad, man. Like Suarez's package was going to be too nice to the point where you're not going to keep him for half a year in the hopes that you make the playoffs because. Let's face it, how far would they even got if they make the playoffs? I'm a big believer, especially in baseball, that anything can happen. Any team can win on any given day, and you got to make the playoffs and then just see what happens. But but let's be realistic. If they made the postseason, or if they somehow still do, are they even winning around?
Yeah, I'm not suggesting that they shouldn't have sold, like based on their team situation, contract situation, their players. It was obviously the right move. It just, man, I hate when they do that because it feels bad. But regardless, the other team that we kind of had pegged into this role, was the Kansas City Royals. They started off the season really bad. We were talking about them as like kind of like soft sellers at the deadline, like selling off maybe guys that were on expiring contracts and they didn't project that they wanted to sign back in the offseason. But they didn't do that. They kind of like soft bought. They didn't go for really too many of the expiring guys. I remember they got Randall Grichuk, which was it was interesting. I don't really know I still don't really understand what that move is doing for them. I guess it just gives them another major league caliber body to put in the outfield, which is fine. And then they went and they got Bailey Falter. Remember that. Solid pitch, okay pitcher, has some solid control on him. So, but they low key went on a little bit of a surge coming out of the All-Star break. They did lose their first series against the Marlins coming out of the break, but then they won a series against the Cubs, a 3-game set. They won a 3-game set against the Guardians. They won a 3-game set against the Braves. They won a 3-game set against the Blue Jays. And then most recently they lost a 3-game set against the Red Sox. But they went on a nice little surge right there. And before that series lost against the Red Sox, they were 500. They were 56 before that. They're currently only 4 games out of a playoff spot. I don't think that it's even that crazy to say that they really have the talent to do it. Obviously, they have guys in their lineup. They have Bobby Witt Jr., Michael Garcia's been really good. I think Vinny Pasquantino can get it going at any minute. Obviously, on the pitching side, their rotation is frontline by Seth Lugo. I don't think that they are a slam dunk to do it. I don't even know if I would say that they're better than any of the teams around them, based on right now. But I think that if any team in the AL were to kind of fit that mold, it would probably be the Royals over any other team. I just don't really see any other team having the potential to actually go on that kind of run.
And also that fit under the guidelines, obviously.
Obviously, yeah.
You can just you could say you could say oh yeah, Texas, whatever, they've been good, but I don't think they fall.
Yeah, I think the Rangers are a reach. We said would the Rays fall under those guidelines or whatever? But like a week ago we were talking about them as buyers.
Exactly.
Like a week, 2 weeks ago we were talking about them as buyers at the deadline. I think 3 weeks ago they were still in the playoff spot. Like they don't count for this, even if they're under 500 right now. It
just goes to show how fast everything can change in the sport.
This is true. Another team that I was thinking like maybe could fit if they went on a run would be the Angels, but I also just don't think that they're nearly good enough to make that kind of run, even though they did low-key try and buy. Which actually, that leads me into the next thing that I want to talk about.
Yeah, there was something that you brought up to me before we even started recording.
This was the first thing this is the first thing that's new to this take of the pod that didn't make it on the first attempt of recording. So this, I saw this in a tweet. Shout out Twitter user at Beyond the Halo. I saw your shit and I bookmarked it because I knew this was juicy. So Robert Murray, he's MLB Insider. He was on a podcast and he said basically what he got at. I'll read out the full quote, but basically the bullet points is that Artie Moreno, the owner of the Angels, really wanted to buy, but their general manager did not really want to buy quite as much. So, he kind of was reluctantly forced to buy, and he apparently even doesn't think that the team is that good. The full quote that I have here is this. It's Artie Moreno, the team owner there. He is by far and away the worst owner in baseball, and I hope he sells the team because the Angels, they have some fun pieces on the team, and they have people in the organization. Perry is a great human being running the show as their general manager, but he's got his hands strapped. And if you had a different owner, I think things would look a lot different. They probably would have sold off. If Perry had a different owner, they probably would have sold off. Oh, sorry. It's repeated twice in the quote. I don't know why. They would have been totally different. Instead, they're trying to be competitive. Perry's trying to be convincing to the media that they're competitive, when in reality, he knows, everybody knows, that the team is just stuck in pure mediocrity. That's kind of that's a big time quote. And we said on the last few that like the Angels buy in really weird circumstances. I remember I talked about, I think on each of the last 2 pods, was like when they were firmly out of the playoffs in Ohtani's contract year, and they traded like one of their top prospects for like Lucas Giolito and Reynaldo Lopez, and they lost them both in free agency. And also Lucas Giolito was just terrible for them.
Do you think they should trade Ohtani?
Oh, at that point in the season, absolutely they should have.
I think you have to have.
Oh, at that point in the season, if you were not dead set, if you were not ready to give him a blank check, then you should have traded him.
Yeah. I mean,
I
it
do, I
just
do, I do,
sucks
I do
how.
understand not wanting to, and at the same time being like, let's go try and get him back,
Yeah.
right? But like
But
at the
I mean,
same time,
you
if you're
had to.
not
Yeah.
if you're not ready to literally just give him a blank check, say, what do you want? I will give you
That,
95% of the team's ownership if you come back. I don't think if you're ready to
that's
do
the
that,
problem. That's the
you should have
problem
kept
with
him.
Moreno though, because Moreno probably had to have known deep down he wasn't going to re-sign him.
And that's the thing is like if you weren't going to do that, I don't know why you would have kept them in the first place. But more specifically to this deadline, they were way out. Okay, sorry, not way out. There was a point where they were like 2 games under 500. They were like, oh, could they be a sneaky team that has a big second half? Granted, we've also done this with the Angels for the past like 10 years, being like, oh, are they the team that makes the jump? I remember in 20. I remember like 2017. I remember the segment that Harold Reynolds had on LB Network where he was like, guys, the Angels are going to be really good. They can steal bases again. And they won like 75 games. And they were just really bad. And like the Angels, we do this every year with them. It feels like where people are like, oh shit, is this finally the year where they surprise everyone? And then no one's surprised when they win like 75 games. And it's like, yeah, we've been doing this for the past decade. Like, I think we just need to give up the shtick. But that, like, obviously we know that owners have some degree of say in what happens, and we know that sometimes they meddle in stuff. It's not very different than your favorite movie getting screwed over because an executive shoehorned something into the movie that shouldn't have been there. It's not much different than this. It's the people above, I like to say, the people in the suits, who really should not have as much influence. They should not be as hands-on. Sometimes, if you're really about it, you can be. But in some cases, you got to sit back. You got to say, you know what? You're the baseball guy. You got it. You're the GM. I trust you. You got the vision. You got this. Do your thing, right? Because sometimes trading for 2 expiring relievers when you are firmly out of the playoffs isn't really going to do much for your franchise. Even if, albeit, I don't think that was a bad trade for them because they traded basically nothing. It's like you could have traded, like, let's say Taylor Ward. That probably would have got you something pretty good because Taylor Ward definitely would have had a market. It's that kind of thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, we see this a lot in sports where the GMs or the president of operations of whatever sport it may be, it's kind of like their hands get tied. They're kind of like the puppet of the owner. The owner or whatever usually has a clear agenda and a clear, what they want to do. And they're just kind of going to use the GM as the puppet to kind of basically take the blame and the heat off him. And it could be a situation like that where people think, oh, the Angels front office is unserious, whatever, they're dumb. But it really could just be a matter of Perry literally can't do anything he wants to do.
Because at the same time, this guy's got to keep his job, right? If
Yeah,
I go into work one day and I think, oh, we should do this, 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 but my boss is saying actually no, and I go and do all the stuff that I'm saying, my ass is getting kicked out the building and I'm not allowed back in, and they're saying you're not working
exactly.
here anymore. It's not that much
They're
different.
changing the locks,
It's
they're
not
cleaning out your stuff.
exactly. It's not much different in this case, and I kind of really feel for Perry here because like that's a really tough scenario to be in, because I am like it literally. Robert Murray was saying that if they had a different owner, someone who wasn't Artie Moreno, they probably would have sold, and I think that would have probably been the right move because I don't think that this team has the foundation that you can really build off of to make a contending team. They probably did 5-6 years ago when you had Trout and Ohtani, when you had the two best players in baseball. But
This also isn't a team that's just refusing to spend. They're spending money.
They exactly. It's kind of it reminds me of like the Mets when they were owned by the Wilpons, where people try to say the Wilpons were cheap. They were always giving out money, but the thing is, they made some stupid ass investments.
Like, yeah, for example, they had no issue dishing 240 whatever it was $1 million to a player who is one of the best at his position when they signed him. Unfortunately, he's played like 5 games.
Yeah,
But
they had no problem giving Pujols the money. They had no problem giving. I'm assuming you're talking about Rendon, right?
Yeah.
They had no problem giving either of those guys big money. Do you remember when Zach Kozar had that crazy year? And then he went and signed with the Angels in the offseason, then he just turned to shit right after. right? They have no problem giving out big money or trying to make the big move. They clearly don't have an issue doing that, but the problem is they make a lot of really stupid investments. And in all fairness, I'm not going to totally blame the front office or the ownership on all of these. I'm not going to say that I thought Anthony Rendon was going to be anywhere close to this bad of a contract. Like, this is probably
No.
one of the worst age contracts in baseball history. Let's be honest, because the only semi-valuable season you got of him was the shortened season.
See,
Outside
like
of that,
this
he
is
either hasn't
exactly.
played or he's played really bad.
But yeah, because
So
that's
I
the thing
can't
though.
blame them.
Back to back to back years with the Nationals, Rendon put up like 140 plus, like 140 or higher WRC plus. He was very, very good. And then he signed the big contract with the Angels. The COVID season, he had another incredible year, and it's like, okay, the Angels are looking like they can, make the playoffs the next year,
He
the next
was
year in
he was an
2021.
MVP finalist. I'm pretty sure the year before he signed with the Angels. His last year with the Nationals. Yeah, he was third.
Yeah,
So the 3 years before his last 3 years in Washington, 2017, 2018, and 2019. Those 3 seasons. These are the 3 years before he went to the Angels. He posted, according to Baseball. I know I usually like fan graphs for WAR, but whatever. It's just I have Baseball Reference up. Okay, don't kill me. He had 18.6 WAR over those 3 years. That's an average of just over 6 WAR. I think that's 6.2 WAR per season. A 953 OPS, a 144 OPS plus, and in those years he finished 6th in MVP voting in 2017, 11th in MVP voting in 2018, and 3rd in MVP voting in 2019. Even in 2020, he finished 10th in AL MVP voting. So that's 4 years right there where he was top 10 MVP voting or just barely outside of it. So it totally justifies it. That
yeah,
contract he got. Unfortunately, obviously it didn't work out, and he's been nowhere close to worth the money. But they've had some really bad luck. But I'm also not going to act like they've made the smartest investments too. You remember when they tried to sign Noah Syndergaard and they gave him like 1 year,
yeah,
25 million or whatever it was? You remember that?
yeah,
Um, or even did the when they did the Jorge Soler thing, and it was really weird. I remember in the off season I was like, okay, I don't exactly know what that's gonna do for you, but like, Godspeed, I guess.
yeah.
It is what it is. And I'm sure that Artie Moreno isn't the only owner in baseball that does this. I'm sure that there's numerous other owners that try to push the team into a certain direction, regardless of whether or not they should go in that direction. Obviously, the biggest examples that everyone likes to talk about are like the owners of the teams that just like refuse to pay their players, i.e., the Rays trading everybody when they're set to really start making some money. Granted, I think you can not give them a pass, but they also have good enough player development recently that it hasn't hurt them. And obviously, like the Pirates, just don't really pay anyone as much.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to sit here and act like Artie Moreno is the only bad owner in baseball. He's not the only one that that's had his team do stupid signings over the years. How many times, we talked about this team having like negative hope. The Rockies. You remember when what has Chris Bryant done for them since he signed that contract? Right? Now, in all fairness,
That actually reminds me. I have to bring something up that I saw about Chris Bryant the other day.
what you got?
It was a tweet about during the Jays series where the Blue Jays, for a lack of a better term, dismantled the Rockies.
Yeah, you say that.
At one point, this was during the third game, Bichette hit a home run off of Freeland, and MLB tweeted out and said Bo Bichette has 3 home runs and 9 RBIs in the series, which led Brandon Weil, who is a Writers Association member for baseball, works for the Score, I believe, said Chris Bryant has 2 home runs and 8 RBIs at Coors Field over the last 2 seasons.
It's sad, man. That's sad.
That's one of those players that are just so likable. I loved him on the Cubs. just such a fun player to watch.
He seemed like he was a lock for future Hall of Famer too, right? Like the guy, he had a really good rookie year. He obviously won Rookie of the Year. He won MVP his second year in the league. I want everyone for a second to take that in. He won MVP in his second season. That season was when he actually, by this MLB service time rules, that was his first full year of service time, and he won MVP.
Yeah. Is this a case where a player signs a big contract and just says, all right, I made my money, I'm out? Because, like, he already won his World Series. He won his MVP. Could it be that where he's just like, all right, I did, that's my career. I'm just going to relax, enjoy Colorado for a couple of years, and then ride off into this? Like, there's no other explanation, in my opinion. Like, but then again, he was good his first year in Colorado.
Yeah,
he didn't play. Granted, he didn't really play. That's when he kind of started getting hurt, and he didn't really play much. But he was still good.
Did you?
And now it's almost as if he doesn't want to play. It just seems like he doesn't want to play anymore. And I'm not speaking for him. Obviously, I don't know what's going on.
Do you remember, or ever end up seeing the quote from him? I don't remember when this was. I want to say it was like a year or two ago. He was asked about. I don't remember what, like, the actual question was that prompted his response, but he basically said, that he basically didn't, he regretted signing with the Rockies. He was like, man, I didn't do as much research into prospects and stuff as I probably should have. Did you ever see that? Do you remember that or no?
Yeah, I do actually.
It was crazy. It was the beginning of last year,
yeah.
And he tried to walk back those comments and say that, oh, it was about getting into camp, not about signing with the Rockies. And it's like, man, we know what you are.
Yeah, because this was about the time. I think this is around the lockout, wasn't it?
It was, because he signed, I think.
And
I don't remember if he signed before or after the lockout.
Obviously, he had the injuries. Obviously, we knew that he wasn't the healthiest player, but
because he was injured coming in. Bad. He was injured coming into the year, because I don't think he actually made his debut until June of that first season. And then I think
it wasn't that bad, though.
And then I think he went right back on the IL actually, but I don't know, man. It's kind of tough because, like you said, he was such a likable player. He was so promising during his first 3 seasons. The guy was probably, I think that was one of the easiest. Oh, that guy's a future Hall of Famer, right? The guy over his first 3 seasons had accumulated, according to Fangraphs, 20 WAR over 3 years. People kind of throw this baseline out there based on a lot of guys that are in the Hall of Fame that, 60 WAR for a Hall of Famer, right? He had a third of that over 3 seasons. He probably would have had 60 WAR by age 10, not by age 10, by season number 10.
By age 27, he already had, in less than 1,000 games, he already had 138 home runs. He had a WRC plus of 139. He had an F4 of just under 30. It was 27.8. He was looking like if he repeated that, what he did in his first 5 seasons, the next 5 seasons, he'd be almost a lock.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just, that's one of those things that sucks to see, where a player just kind of I don't want to say falls off the face of the earth, but just kind of, it's damn, that's a what if. What could have happened? What would have happened if he stayed in Chicago? What would have happened if they don't trade him to San Francisco and he just re-signs with Chicago and plays his career there? Who knows what happens?
It's tough, man. It's tough. It sucks to see it sucks to see things like that. But I'm gonna kind of switch things over. We're gonna go on to a little bit more of a positive thing. So, obviously, when I sent you the bullet points of the things I wanted to talk about, I literally just said Kyle Schwarber glaze, and I am fully going to just glaze Kyle Schwarber right now. This guy is so ridiculous. Dude, Kyle Schwarber, I love him. Kyle Schwarber, I love you.
I do need to mention something with Schwarber though. I love Schwarber, incredible player, obviously. And by the way, this is nothing bad about Schwarber that I'm going to say.
What you got?
But this is before he went to Philly. This was the 2021 off season, I remember there was a thing that came out. I forget exactly where it was written, but I remember that the Blue Jays had serious interest. And it was to the point where Schwarber even had his bags packed. He was ready to go to Toronto. He thought that it was happening, and the Jays just never made a final offer to him. Never gave like a formal offer.
I remember
Just kind of
I
left
wanted
it
that to
hanging.
happen so bad because like Schwarber, especially in the modern game, he's like the perfect like archetype of player because like I
Could you
understand
imagine this player on this Jays team?
that would be nuts. That'd be ridiculous.
Instead of a injured Santander. Not to say that, I wasn't high on Santander. Not to think that he can't come back like next
Absolutely,
year and still be
absolutely.
good. He's just not Kyle Schwarber.
Kyle Schwarber's ridiculous, and I've been seeing some conversations, and it's kind of an interesting thing, and this kind of leads to like a little broader discussion, like outside of Kyle Schwarber, but like people have been saying, right? Kyle Schwarber is probably going to end up a 500 home run player, right? And um, there's a lot of those like counting stat numbers, especially for hitters. I feel like it's a lot more concrete. That like once you get, I don't know, let's say once you get like one of these milestones, you're probably just in the Hall of Fame. Like 500 home runs, 3,000 hits, whatever RBI run,
2,000
whatever.
strikeouts or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, like
For a
those
pitcher.
those are almost like
Yeah.
once you pass those, like you're almost surely in there because of everyone else that has reached those. They're just already in, and if they're not, they're probably still active or they're not eligible to get on the ballot yet. Or there's like really weird cases where it's like Barry Bonds, right? Schwarber's probably gonna end up with 500 home runs, and it's like barring like a Ryan Howard-esque injury and fall off, I think he gets there. Because he's only, as of right now, 176 away. That, over a 5-year span, let's say he hits 35 home runs per year over the next 5 seasons, which would be less than each of the last 3 seasons and less than this year. So that's assuming like there's a decline there, right? He would get 500 in like the next 5 years. So the thing is, if he reaches that, he would probably also just exceed 500. Like there's a chance he even gets like 550. There's a chance he inches a little closer to 600, just because he's that ridiculous. What do we think about the possibility of Kyle Schwarber actually, like, if assuming that he reaches those milestones? Let's say he reaches 500 home runs, 550. Does he get into the Hall of Fame? Or does he, sorry, maybe not does he get in, but, like, what kind of Hall of Fame buzz does he get? Because that might sound ridiculous to the average fan being, Kyle Schwarber, Hall of Famer? The guy hit 197 2 years ago. Obviously, the game has evolved past just simply looking at batting average. Not to say that it's useless, but it also leaves out, it doesn't account for the amount of total times a player gets on base, it doesn't account for power numbers, whatever. Kyle Schwarber is a guy who will have a lower average, but he will also walk a lot, and therefore his on base will be high. And obviously, the best thing he does is hit the goddamn ball out of the ballpark. He's one of the best players in baseball at doing that.
Personally, it's going to be really, really, really hard. Because I'm trying to think of who this closest comparable can be. And right now, the name that comes to mind is Adam Dunn. And I don't consider him a Hall of Famer. Obviously, he didn't actually hit 500 home runs. He came short. He was in the 450 range. If he hits 500, I think that you could say, sure, maybe. I think it's just the fact that he's primarily a designated hitter at this point of his career. Like, yeah, he isn't just a designated hitter. You're not getting the defense. You're not getting all that extra value. I'm gonna see. I think the path for him to be in the Hall of Fame is really, really hard.
So, I'm going to pose
It
another
needs to be like a really weak class, first of all.
I'm going to pose another question to you. Actually, that's very true. I think that last part. I'm going to pose another question to you. Because obviously his positional value and like his WAR numbers are going to be a lot lower if he's playing DH. You kind of probably have seen that like 60 WAR number thrown around usually, right? Where
Yes,
it's
that's
kind of like
I think that's like the basis where you see 60. It's like, okay, this guy very well could be
Yeah.
should probably be a Hall of Famer.
He's obviously not going to hit that unless he somehow becomes a 10-WAR center fielder in the next couple years, which I don't really think that
Yeah.
that's in the cards for
I
him.
actually heard that he's taking that Pico Armstrong route, and he's just gonna be he's literally gonna be a better defender than him and faster. He's gonna steal 50 bases
Yeah,
next year.
unless
Yeah.
he just does all that starting at age 33.
Yeah.
I don't know about all that, but he might finish with, let's say, like, I think 30 WAR is pretty safe to say he finishes.
Yeah. I don't think that's
Fangraphs right now for his
crazy.
career, he has 21. I actually think he'll probably pretty easily get 30 WAR. Maybe like 30, 35 WAR between there. That on its own would get you nowhere close to the Hall of Fame. So I'm going to now pose the question right now. Would you stack him up maybe to other DHs that are already in the Hall of Fame? And if so, off the top of your head, how would he stack up against some guys?
I mean, I'm trying to think who even in Major League Baseball in the Hall of Fame was like a primary DH. And I'm thinking like I guess David Ortiz.
David Ortiz and like Edgar Martinez are the two big ones. Granted, those are the two best DHs of all time. But in all fairness, well, okay, sorry. I was gonna say in all fairness, Ortiz only had like 50 WAR or 50 FWAR, but 50 is obviously way bigger than like 30 or 35.
He also has him beaten like everything too. Like it's
that
not
is also
just...
true. That also he has like the longevity like ridiculous. There's a lot of like weird things, a lot of different things that you look at in terms of Hall of Fame. People get into the Hall of Fame for very different reasons, right? Some people will have a Hall of Fame peak, but maybe don't have quite the longevity. Some people may not have the ridiculous peaks that some Hall of Famers have had, but they were just so good for so long that they end up accumulating all the counting stats. They reach the milestones, and so that kind of gets them in. In this case here, let's say Schwarber hits 550 home runs, right? Obviously, the path to Hall of Fame would be tough, and I don't even know if I'd consider that, to be honest with you. Do we reconsider some of these marks, like these Hall of Fame marks? Do we reconsider them, maybe push them a little forward or what have you?
What do you mean by that?
Like let's say, for example, we say, what are the numbers we said? 3,000 hits, 500 home runs, 3,000 strikeouts. Those are some pretty safe baselines, right? Obviously, there are some exceptions to those rules. For example, a lot of the steroid guys that were 500 home run guys are not in. Like Bonds obviously didn't get in. Roger Clemens didn't get in. Guys like that. Obviously, Schwarber's not a steroid guy, so it's a little different. But let's say someone like Schwarber ended up hitting like 500, 550, whatever. And you're saying, well, the guy isn't quite a Hall of Famer. Is it just an exception, or do we end up really having to rethink like these marks that we have?
Well, the way I see it is that the reason why Schwarber wouldn't fit just because he hits one of those things is because the average player that does that also is playing a position where WAR is accumulated more and is also probably playing way more games and having a longer longevity. Like I'm looking at a guy like, for example, I guess let's just use Willie Mays as an example because he was the first guy that just came to my mind. That's a guy who played so much outfield. He got the WAR, and obviously the home run total was there, the hit total was there. It's not a matter of fact of, the guidelines need to be changed or the guidelines not being true. It's just under the assumption that he's doing other things too. And the more I'm looking at a thing right here, and I think I found the closest comparable for a Hall of Famer to Kyle Schwarber, and that's Harold Baines. Harold Baines was primarily a DH in his career. 38.7 B-WAR with 384 home runs and career OPS of 820, OPS plus of 121. Schwarber has a career OPS of 847, OPS plus 126. If he does finish around 30 B-WAR with 500 home runs, that would probably be a better career than Harold Baines. Harold Baines obviously having 2,800 hits and a higher average, also contributing. But I think you look at that at Schwarber and Baines, and that's a fair comparison.
I'm gonna ask you another question on this topic here.
Yeah.
Let's say Schwarber, he hits, let's say he finishes around like a 35 WAR mark. That's like just a little bit lower than Harold Baines. You can even say, let's say hypothetically, just for the sake of argument, that he matches him in career WAR. Do you, if you were a voter, would you say, well, he output overall like the same value, or like give or take the same value as this actual Hall of Famer? So do I vote him in on precedent? Or do I say, you know what? Maybe the first guy shouldn't have been there in the first place. Or not that I don't think he should, because 2,800 is ridiculous and that's crazy longevity. But is that where a line kind of gets drawn of like, you know what? Maybe the precedent should take a back seat for a second. I should just evaluate this just on this case? Or do you evaluate it being like, well, he has the same value as Harold Baines over his career?
Yeah, like it's really a unique case. Schwarber's a very unique player. This is not like a guy that we see tons of in Major League Baseball who can hit home runs at will like he can. And it's just, and obviously the other guys who can have more going for them, like Aaron Judge, obviously going to be a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, that guy is like literally just like wherever he wants the ball to go, it's going to go. Also, there is
like,
definitely
I
a difference.
love this conversation.
There is also respectfully a difference between Judge hitting like 340, but like I don't know. I saw it on the timeline. I saw it on the timeline the other day, and I thought it was really interesting because I think that there are a lot of guys who there are guys who, when you see them on a Hall of Fame ballot, you may not think of them as like, well, they didn't feel like a Hall of Famer in their day, right? There's plenty of those guys. There's plenty of those guys, right? But then when you actually go and you look back and you're saying, well, he did this, this, that, maybe he should have gotten a little bit more buzz, right? He should have got a little bit more buzz. I think it's a lot more of an interesting thing. I think some people will discount Schwarber just because like he's a low average player, whatever, he's a DH, whatever. I think it's a lot better of I think it's a lot more of a conversation that I think people are willing to have. And also people's views on the game are just shifting different. People are valuing different things. 20 years ago, it would not be a conversation. It would be an instant no. Like
what? No, not even 20. Like 5-10 years ago would be.
Yeah, you know what? You're right. Even 10 years ago, if he was on a Hall of Fame ballot 10 years ago, with what we can probably project to be like his end career,
a 220 average, yeah.
Yeah, if you want to say that he ended his career with, let's say, a 35 WAR or 30 WAR or whatever, and still hit those milestones, 10 years ago he's probably like not even. He probably doesn't even make it past first ballot 10 years ago. 20 years ago, a Hall of Fame ballot voter will laugh at you if you X him on your ballot.
Yeah, I mean, here's what I'll say. I think that if he gets elected to the Hall of Fame, implying he does hit 500, has like a 30 WAR, if he gets elected, I'm not going to be one of those people that say, oh, wow, that's horrible. How the hell did this guy make the All-Star game? I do think that it would be deserved. Like, I think you could make the argument it's deserved.
Oh, yeah.
But, however, I don't think he will make it.
Yeah.
And that's not because I don't think he has the skill or was good enough. It's because the average voter as well is going to look at it and see his WAR total like, not really that impressive. Didn't really hit for high average. And obviously people are changing. But, like, when you have to rely on a committee, you have to outsource this. It's going to people who are human beings, who value different things than the average person, the average fan, the average person who, enjoys advanced statistics. They're going to have a complete different view on it. They're just going to look at the surface numbers and say, 25 to 30 WAR. He hit a lot of home runs, didn't really have average, didn't have like the longest career. I don't think this guy's a Hall of Famer. And I'm not going to say they're going to be wrong in saying he's not a Hall of Famer. It's honestly more the logic behind it rather than the decision.
Mm-hmm.
If one of the voters who doesn't vote Schwarber just comes out and says, yeah, his average wasn't high enough, then I'll say, all right, you lost the plot.
Yeah.
If they came out and said, I don't value the fact that he didn't really play defense, Yes, his average was low, but that's not what I'm looking at. I'm more looking at the fact that he didn't have the longest career and he didn't play, elite defense or anything. He was a DH. That kind of makes me sway away from voting. That would be respectable, and I would completely get that.
Mhm.
So it's really a matter of the reason behind him not making it, rather than the fact of him not making it. That would speak to me more.
Yeah, and like Schwarber's a guy, like by the time his career ends, I don't think that any of his skills he has right now are those that are gonna age very poorly. Like he makes
No,
very good swing decisions. He has some of the best walk rates in the majors. He seemingly hits the ball out whenever he wants to. Those are not things that are gonna really age out of his game in the next couple
his
of years.
bat speed is next to like almost nobody
Yeah,
as
like
well.
I don't really see his play aging that bad over the next couple years. Maybe when he's like late 30s, maybe a little bit, but I don't really think over the next 5 or so years his play is going to really age much.
No, especially
So I wouldn't be
especially
surprised to
because
see more like 140, 150 WRC plus seasons, more seasons where he's hitting 40 nukes out of the park.
that's the thing. Especially because um he's already a DH primarily. It's not like he has to adjust to that style, which people do say that like oh, what's the issue of playing DH? You're just focusing on hitting. But there are a lot of players who, I'm not saying he's in particular because clearly he's enjoying being a designated hitter. There are a lot of players who prefer to play in the field because they feel like they're doing more, their heads in the game more, and they hit better when they're fielding.
Exactly. A lot of people will like
So
literally
yeah,
cite that as like whether it's being more active. Corbin Carroll was DHing a few days ago, and one of the times he was talking about how he was like really trying to stay active in between, right? Giancarlo Stanton, I'm pretty sure, has been on record saying like he's more focused when he's playing the outfield. Some people, you can see that they have a lot better numbers when they're playing in the field. Yordan Alvarez, I remember doing this almost like a thing. It was like a case study I almost kind of wanted to do, but I didn't end up actually doing it. But Yordan Alvarez's OPS and WRC plus is so much higher when he's actually playing the outfield as opposed to when he's DHing.
yeah.
So obviously it's not affecting Kyle Schwarber because the guy is one of the
No,
best hitters in baseball, and he's been that for ever.
yeah, he's already made the switch. He's already comfortable in that, and that's another thing. If this is a guy who's still playing the outfield and then would have to make the transition, you have those potential problems. Then obviously you could see like maybe his hit play will suffer, but clearly hasn't suffered a bit. If anything, it's gotten better.
Dude, he's having the best. He's already set a career high in WAR. It's like
Yeah,
and not even just a career high in F4. He's already set a career high in F4, and it's like significantly higher than his previous career high was actually last year was 3.3. This year it's already 3.9. He might finish with 5 WAR.
yeah.
I don't know, man. I think the Kyle Schwarber conversations are really, really interesting.
It was a fun conversation. I like this
It
one
is.
a lot, actually.
It is because it's gonna be, again, because like people are gonna discount him. Everyone, listen. Every player in the damn league is gonna get discounted for one reason or another. There are always those people that are just gonna, not want to gas someone up. They're always gonna want to say, well, actually, this guy's not good, or this team, this, that, whatever, right? Obviously, just because you don't glaze someone up to the max doesn't mean that you're a hater, that you're pessimistic or whatever. If I look at Kyle Schwarber and I say, yeah, I don't think he's a future Hall of Famer, that doesn't make me pessimistic. Actually, that's actually a very just take, I think.
Yeah, I would say so.
I don't think that makes someone pessimistic or isn't appreciating greatness. You can appreciate greatness while also not going overboard, but you can also you don't always have to, like, absolutely shit on players. Because I saw someone saying, like, well, are we totally sure he hits 500 home runs? He may not even hit 400. And it's like he's almost at, like, 3. He's probably going to end the year with, like, 330. And it's like, are you dead? Are you serious? 335.
I would be shocked. I would be actually stunned if he doesn't hit 400. Like he would have to, God forbid, have a bad injury.
The Martians would have to
something
point the death beam at Earth and fire it for him to not hit 400. And I wish listen, I wish we were doing a podcast with someone who thought like that, because I would so serious, I would put $100 down right now. I would put $100 down right now. That would be the freest $100 of my life.
I think there's a better chance that he hits he reaches 400 next year than he
Then
does of not hitting 400 in his career,
yeah,
which is obvious.
I would honestly agree. Also,
But
the crazy part is just
yeah,
how much of his hits are home runs. Like he reached like 1,000 career hits like very recently. I remember I saw the post. I want to say like sometime like early this week or last week or something. He barely has 1,000 career hits, and he has over 300 home runs. Like this guy's kind of nuts when you really think about it. I'm gonna do the math right here. 32% of his career hits are home runs if you round it.
yeah, I'm looking at it
That's
now. There's
crazy.
only four in Major League history who has a home run percentage, which is calculated of how many of their at bats end in home runs. Only 4 players hit home runs at a higher pace than him over their career. Can you name the 4?
Okay, so I'm gonna say Barry Bonds is gonna be one of them.
Yes, he is number
Okay,
4.
Barry Bonds is number 4. Okay, wait, you said there's 4 ahead of Schwarber, right?
Yes.
Okay, so let me lock in here. So yeah, Barry Bonds is 1, obviously. I'm gonna say.
No, he's number 4.
Oh, he's number 4. Okay, sorry.
Yeah. 7.74%.
I'm gonna say I actually don't think that Hank Aaron is ahead of him, only because
You would be correct.
I was gonna say Hank Aaron. I think his career high is what 47 in a season.
You would be 42nd on this list.
42nd, yeah, okay. Because I remember when I was first like really tapping in, like way back when, and I was like, damn, he never hit 50, and he was for so long he was number 1, right?
Funnily enough, though, I was watching a video the other day with a friend, and it was a baseball bits video, Foolish Baseball. Love his stuff. I don't know if you really watch his channel.
Actually, I was watching one of his not too long ago. It was about like you know how there used to be. It's kind of died out recently, but like there was the stereotypical like old, not necessarily old DH, but like that very stereotypical DH type
Yes.
player, like the Nelson Cruzes, the David Ortiz, the Edwin Encarnaciones. I was watching a video on how like those kinds of players really died out in the last like let's say 7-8 years. I was watching one of those recently. It was a really good video. Anyways, keep saying what you're saying.
So the point I was making was that he was showing how consistent Hank Aaron was. So he was trying to make it so like he was building Hank Aaron using his own stats, but each stat was like his 15th best season at everything.
Mm-hmm.
And his 15th best season has a WAR of 6.8 with 30 home runs.
That's
his
ridiculous.
15th highest WAR and his 15th highest home run total.
That's
Yeah,
ridiculous.
he may not have hit 50, but man, I don't think there's a more consistent baseball player in the history of the sport.
I think that
than him.
speaks volumes to how consistent he was. The fact that his career
It
highs
does.
in his home runs is like not even 50, and
His career high is 47. He hit almost 800.
And he what is it 755, right?
Yeah.
Career, yeah, like that. I think speaks volumes.
I should say it's almost 800, but
well,
yeah,
it's as close to 800 as you were gonna get without being Barry Bonds,
Probably,
who barely
yes,
edged him out. If he literally got out of the league 1 year earlier, we'd still be talking about Hank Aaron being the leader. So
true.
Okay. Anyways, Barry Bonds. I'm gonna say don't think Babe Ruth is ahead of him.
He is.
He is. Damn it.
Number 3 at 8.5. So there's 2 left. One of them is active. One of them is not.
Did Babe Ruth have a shorter career than I thought he did? How many seasons did Babe Ruth play? I thought he played a lot more seasons than that.
I mean, this is a percentage stat though. So
true. I know, but I'm thinking. That's why I'm thinking. Cause I'm like, he's like not very.
Oh, so you're saying like later in his career or whatever.
I was assuming that like eventually it would have like dropped off, I guess. But actually, you know what? I guess he really didn't fall off until like the last like very small stretch of his career. I'm trying to think on the home run ladder in total. I'm gonna say Griffey's not ahead of him. I'm gonna say Pujols isn't ahead of him. Is A-Rod ahead of him?
He is not.
He's not. Where does A-Rod rank?
20th.
20. Okay. Fuck. Who the hell else could rank ahead of him? So Babe Ruth, Barry Bonds.
Do you want like some hints?
Okay, hold on. Does Aaron Judge rank ahead of him?
He does. Aaron Judge is number 2 at 8.92.
He does. I thought about that.
So,
I thought about that, and I was like, wait a minute. Oh, who would this last one be? Judge, Bonds, Babe. Who else could we possibly be looking at?
This guy is just outside the top 10 in home runs.
Oh,
career.
fuck. Who could this possibly be? Okay. So I'm thinking a lot of the 500 home run guys. I'm gonna say it's not gonna be Manny. It's not gonna be Sosa. It's not gonna be Mark. Is it Mark McGwire?
It is Mark McGwire.
It is Mark McGwire.
Mark McGwire is number 1 at 9.42.
Damn.
That's crazy.
Locked in, man.
But yeah, so that shows right there. And Mark McGwire, Hall of Famer. Well, he would have been
on my ballot.
Should be.
Would have been on my ballot.
Should be. Aaron Judge, Hall of Famer. He will be.
He probably retired. He probably retired today and make the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, Babe Ruth, Hall of Famer. Yeah, I would say so. Barry Bonds.
Would have been on. That's my go. I don't care. You can listen. Anyone can tell me anything. I don't care. Barry Bonds is my greatest player of all time. I don't give a damn.
Yeah, I agree. I personally agree. Obviously, home runs aren't the entire thing, but all this shows is not only is he an elite home run, he's not just an elite home run hitter. He's a generational home run hitter.
He is literally one of the best home run hitters ever. And that is obviously, because we just broke it down, that is not a stretch.
And Adam Dunn, who I was saying is probably his closest comparable to a guy who's not in the Hall of Fame.
He's right behind him on percentage.
He ranks 14th. Yeah, the percentage difference is almost 1 full percent.
I was thinking, is Adam Dunn gonna be up there? But I was like, nah, he won't be, because he had some not as great years. But I was like,
and Harold Baines, who with a similar home run total as Schwarber right now, in his career had a similar total. And the reason why I'm bringing him in particular up is just because I said he's a Hall of Famer, and that's just an interesting case in terms of WAR and home run total. Like, should he have gotten in? He's 362nd at a 3.88%. So Schwarber's clearly passing him before the end of next year.
Oh yeah,
at the earliest. So it's like, if Baines is a Hall of Famer, why can't Schwarber be?
Yeah, it's an interesting case. It's going to be interesting to see how if people maybe become a little bit more lenient towards like peak performance as opposed to longevity, if people maybe stack up values relative to their positions a little bit more. Because, for example, we were talking about like the WAR numbers, right? You can generally probably stack those up, position player starters. I've always found it really difficult to evaluate relievers in that point, because I think that's another really interesting thing, because obviously a reliever is not going to have the cumulative value of a starting pitcher.
Exactly.
Almost never.
How would you personally
but that's why you
determine that?
But that's why you also don't stack them up against a starter, because like obviously fucking Mariano Rivera is not going to have the value of a Pedro Martinez. Obviously not even close. But it also would be unfair to Mo to stack him up against that. And that goes for not just Mo, like any of the top tier all-time relievers.
I'll even say this. I think a guy like Ryan Howard. Personally, I don't think Ryan Howard should be a Hall of Famer. I agree with that. But the reason why I'm bringing him up is because his WAR total was under 20 in terms of B-WAR. And this is exactly where WAR becomes interesting, because if the National League had a DH when he played, his WAR would probably have been double what it is.
In all fairness, though, that injury does play a significant part in it, because his career WAR, at least according to Fangraphs, their calculation of WAR, it actually was like when he ruptured. Well, it was his Achilles, if I remember right.
I think it was, on the last.
Whatever his career WAR total, I don't remember the exact number. I mentioned it in an article. That's the only reason why I'm bringing it up, because I remember this pretty well. It was like 20-something, 21, whatever. It actually, after his injury onwards, he was actually an overall negative, because obviously low positional value, and then on top of that, he just wasn't hitting. So that injury kind of killed his career, obviously, but it also killed like his WAR total, because he was literally just a negative after. His career WAR went down after his injury, and him coming back, and him just not being the same player.
Yeah,
also ironic that we're also both talking that he's also a Philly, big left-handed Philly power bat.
That's also kind of the reason why I brought him up. Yeah. because obviously it would have to be a National League player.
Yeah, totally.
But that's the thing. Like, it's just it could show that playing first base at a at any level, even if you're not a great defender, that alone is going to boost your WAR.
Yeah, yeah. Literally, just simply playing the field just provides value. And this is not to say that people playing DH, this or that, right? Right. I think that there is a lot of value that comes from the DH spot. Obviously, before it really became a universal DH, you used to see that mold of just like DH slugger types, right? I mentioned them. We had the David Ortizes, we had the Nelson Cruzes, the Edwin
and you would see them
Encarnaciones
play
of the world.
positions they probably shouldn't have been playing.
Yeah, here and there you would see them in the field a little bit. Towards the end of like Edwin's career, for example, you saw him more at first base. Here and there you saw some Nelson Cruz in the outfield, and that led to the play in the World Series. One of the plays of all time. And obviously David Ortiz was like almost never playing the field except I think he was I'm saying I think because I listen, I was 9 years old in the 2013 World Series. I don't fucking remember him. He was probably playing first base at that time because they didn't want to lose his bat. I'm sure.
Yeah, he was obviously first.
I'm assuming so because listen, respectfully, I was 9 years old. I didn't watch that damn series. I was 9. My age was single digits. So like, give me a little bit of slack there, but it's that kind of thing, right? Where obviously like that's the kind of mold that position used to be in. It's now kind of lost that. It's kind of turned now into more of like you're rotating your guys in and out. You do like the half off day kind of thing. If someone's really swinging a hot bat, but you really don't want him out of the lineup, but you still want to kind of give him some rest, you can throw him at DH for a little bit, right? Throw him at DH for a day. He's not really exerting the energy on the field. He's just getting in the box. He's taking his hacks, and that's kind of the end of it, right? As like a half off day kind of thing. You see a little bit here and there as like primary DHs. Obviously, Schwarber's one of them. Otani's one of them, but that's also kind of a different case because he's also a pitcher. Those are like the two big ones, but you don't see that DH mold that you really used to see quite as much anymore. And I don't know, I think that's an interesting thing.
Yeah, I mean, okay, I gotta ask you, did you like the universal DH rule?
I do.
I've heard
a
lot of people don't for some reason.
No, I think that it is one of the best implementations that baseball had over the last.
I agree.
Was 22 the first year of the universal DH? Like excluding.
So I think they did it for COVID, and then they took the year off, and then I think they just said, "All right, we're gonna just implement."
Yeah, because I know it was there during that year. I know 2020 had like a lot of really experimental rules. There was the expanded playoffs, or I should say the mega expanded playoffs. Because I think like 8 teams from each team made it.
Ghost Runner,
I remember. 22 was like the first full year of it. I'm pretty sure, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. I miss seeing some pitchers hit. But at the end of the day, it's like
kind of novel, but at the same time, it allows for better.
Like it was funny.
It was kind of funny to see like an Archie.
The point is, it shouldn't be funny.
It shouldn't. It's funny because the reason it's funny is because pitchers don't hit. Like not they don't hit as in they don't come up to bat. Like they were pitcher at bats were.
With the exception of a couple guys like a Madison Bumgarner type.
Even then. Overall,
but like I'm saying, guys who could hit way better than the average pitcher
relative to other pitchers. But you would rather have almost any position player up to bat. That's the thing.
And that's the other thing. Like also, it never made any sense. Is I get that the American League and National League, you want to have some discrepancy. It's like technically a different league, whatever. But like having one league have a universal DH and the other not is just a crazy concept to me.
Yeah, no, I never understood the one. League gets the DH thing, because here's the other thing, right? Obviously, that was getting brought up a lot more when you had those type of roles, right? A player like Nelson Cruz or David Ortiz they were basically off limits for a National League team because they were a DH, right? You were not going to put David Ortiz at first. You were not going to put Nelson Cruz in the outfield. You just weren't going to do it. You weren't back in his heyday. You weren't going to put Edgar Martinez at first. Really, he's a DH, right? So that basically means that for half the league, he's off limits. And that also means that interleague play, World Series play, AL team goes into the NL ballpark. If you have a top tier DH, you are now knocking someone out of your lineup. Whether it's whether it's you're benching the DH, you're putting, let's say, David Ortiz on the bench, or you're putting him at first and you're benching whoever your first baseman would be, in whatever hypothetical scenario you want to throw at, right? I think that's kind of stupid. And also, if you're the NL team going into the AL's home field, you now just have another guy in your lineup who you didn't really build that team with the purpose of having him in the lineup regularly. And now he's just getting at bats and nothing else. Also, it was like different. You just kind of built your team a little differently. And that, I think, is kind of stupid. I think if you're going to build your team differently, it should be based off of like your team philosophy and what you value as a team, and not the literal rules of the league. Strong arming you into doing this or doing that. I think that the universal DH was probably the single best rule change that they made over the past however many years.
Yeah, I would have to agree. There's also something that brings me to another question about a rule that I want your opinions on.
Let's hear it.
Because obviously with the whole pitchers hitting, you got the matchups where you take the pitcher out and have to put in a player, and then the double switch, all that stuff. Do you think that the league going to a 3-batter minimum for pitchers was a good rule change?
I remember I initially didn't really like it because you had those guys that were like specialists. You saw it especially with like lefties, right? They would come in, face a batter, 2 batters, whatever, and then they get taken out. The 3-batter, maybe I've just gotten used to it, but it's kind of grown on me a little bit more. I don't really dislike the rule change as much as I used to. Because I do remember when that rule first came into effect, I hated it. I thought it was so bad. I'm okay with it now. Now, I don't know if it's...
What were your thoughts initially on the pitch clock, though?
The pitch clock I was a little iffy on, because I was like...
Yeah.
It was something that I had to see the actual... Like, I had to feel it. I had to see it. Yes. I had to actually watch the game with it in effect to really feel the difference. It was no secret that pitchers would take their sweet-ass time before. Some guys would take like a full minute between pitches. And I think during the first season, you saw guys a little tough to adjust. I do think it's kind of... I do still think it's kind of lame, like if a team... You don't really see it anymore because teams have now adjusted to it. Teams have gotten used to it. But like during the first little bit, you would see... There was a couple games where a team literally like had a walk-off because of a pitch clock violation.
Yeah.
And I still think that's kind of lame. I still think that scenario is really lame. But you also don't really see it enough anymore to the point where I would really make a big fuss over it. But I overall think it's better because I do think that, you know, they go over about pace of play, right?
It's good for the average fan.
It is. And here's the other thing, right? It does not, even as a long-time watcher of the game, I've been watching the game over 10 years, right? Obviously, there have been people who are watching the game for longer, right? The pitcher staring at the catcher for another 20 seconds on top of whatever other time he's taking, that doesn't really add to the game.
No.
For me, it never took away, but I'm not going to sit here and act like, man, I miss Matt Harvey staring at his pitcher for 45 seconds before throwing the pitch.
Ivan Nova taking 2 minutes between pitches.
I can't.
My dad were timing.
Yeah, I can't say that I really missed that. It was a rule that, again, I was kind of iffy on at first. Cause I'm like, I don't really know what that's gonna do. It's a rule that I had to feel it first, and I'm like, okay, wait, never mind. I feel it. Now I get it. Now I understand it.
Yeah. The thing for me is that I will say that there are some moments in the postseason that the drama, just the waiting between, like, I'm thinking of the Bautista bat flip, just like staring him down before everything happened, just between pitches, taking a second to collect themselves. The tension, you can feel it through the TV even. And it's like you don't get the same moment, but it's not like you don't get those at all.
Oh yeah.
And like another clip I'm thinking of is the Bryce Harper one against the Astros, where you had the whole him going to the plate. He was taking, the weight off his bat. He was, fixing his equipment. You hear his walk-up song, get the standing ovation from the crowd. Everyone's into it. And then after like a minute of all the theatrics, then he steps on, and then the at-bat starts, and then he hits the home run, and it's like, you're not getting that exact moment. Obviously, it's not to say you're not getting big moments, but it's just there were times where I liked the extra minute or two before when they would pitch now, just to kind of like, all right, this is it. This is the moment. They're setting up the moment. They're setting the scene.
I do think that if I were in charge, I would probably add maybe another 5. I would add an extra couple seconds onto the clock in each given like circumstance, because I know it changes depending on what the like base runners, empty bases, base load, or whatever. I would probably add some extra time to it. I wouldn't add too much. I would add maybe max 10 seconds.
Yeah.
To each one. Part of that is for that reason. You don't get that kind of drama. Not even just postseason, like late game stuff, right? Late game, you gotta come back, big guy, your face of the franchise guy steps up to the plate. You're Bryce Harper, you're Mike Trout, you're whoever, right? Given the team.
Well, in order to say Mike Trout, you had to change it to regular season there.
Man.
Please, for the please, Angels, just please, I don't know if you have to trade him or what you have to do, but he needs to play in the postseason. Please.
I actually, like, one of the biggest, like, I'm actually struggling to find the word for it. Like, one of my least favorite things about being a baseball fan is the fact that the greatest player of our generation. No, I wouldn't call it a pet peeve. One of the the things I hate most about being a baseball fan right now.
Greatest disservice to baseball.
Yes, disservice is that he's only played 3 playoff games, and he's had like 12 plate appearances or whatever. That's criminal. That's criminal.
Yeah.
That was literally, he was in Willie Mays convos. I don't think listen, people obviously, it's not talked about as much anymore because of the injuries, and obviously you've had guys like Ohtani and Judge come up and they've been ridiculous. Mike Trout was in Willie Mays convos, damn it.
He's still a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Oh, he absolutely is. No, he could retire today and be a Hall of Famer.
It's just what hurts is seeing him go from a guy who, when he retired, would have been considered a potential top 3 to top 5 player of all time,
and
to go into just please just stay a bit healthier so you can be a bona fide top 10 player.
Yeah.
Or a top 15 player.
Because legitimately, he was like legitimately in GOAT combos.
He was in GOAT talks. He was.
And it was absolutely justified, too, because he was that good. He was that good. He was a ridiculously insane hitter. Obviously, now we have, like, Aaron Judge, who's been, like, hold my beer, but, like, Mike Trout was, like, a 170, 180 WRC plus lock. He probably should have, like, 6 MVPs. Let's be honest with ourselves. He probably should have both the Miggy years. He should probably have the Donaldson year. He should actually, I don't know if I should say he has any other ones, but those are like 3 MVPs that he should have on top of what he already has. Like, man, I feel bad for Angels fans, because on one hand, it is a privilege to have someone that good on your team and being able to watch that firsthand. But I can't imagine how much it must sting to have someone that good on your team for so long, and you just don't sniff any success, and you don't get to see him play in a big time, like a meaningful game.
Like, as a Jays fan, I'm happy that we got to see those postseasons that we did with guys like Bautista, Edwin, and obviously there's Vlad, who
Bautista and Edwin close. when they made the playoffs in 15. I'm pretty sure those two. I don't know if Edwin was second, but I remember Bautista, I'm pretty sure, had the most games played without reaching a postseason. I'm pretty sure. Like, it was active, like among active players at that point, before he actually stepped up in 15 and they made it. Because I'm pretty sure he was up there. Because you remember that guy had been in the league since 2004.
Yeah.
Man, what a time.
But it's just it's one of those things where it's like, you just, obviously Vlad is not nearly on the same level as Mike Trout. That's not the point I'm getting at. But as a Jays fan, Vlad, face of the franchise, clearly supposed to be a superstar, And it's just, I'm grateful that obviously we haven't gone anywhere yet with him, but I'm grateful that I've gotten to see him in multiple postseasons
Being
already.
able
And
to
hopefully,
watch a franchise player in a playoffs is like just something really different. Um, like for example, I mean, we were talking about Bryce Harper. Like I think some Bryce Harper playoff ball has been some of my favorite watches over the years.
oh my, don't, yeah.
Some of those
I mean,
some franchise players, like you can go get some franchise players. You can point out some massive moments from them. Some of my favorites, I've been like there was the Bryce, obviously the Harper home run against San Diego. The call, Harper, the swing of his life. That is one of my favorite calls ever, genuinely.
yeah.
Do you remember the
Joe
Lindor? Do
Davis,
you
what a
remember
guy.
the Lindor grand slam against the Yankees in the playoffs?
Lito with a swing
Swinging
and
a
a drive!
drive and is gone.
Couldn't even
Santa
hear, and
Maria.
you couldn't even hear him over
You
that,
could barely
basically.
hear him because
Like,
the crowd was
wow.
that crazy. They legitimately. I feel like sometimes on playoff broadcasts they like. I feel like the crowd is like turned down so you can hear the commentator. I don't ever
Yeah.
want that to happen again. I want to hear the crowd go ridiculous. If I
There's
can't
one in
hear the commentator,
particular,
so be it. I
yeah.
want to hear the crowd break the audio that.
Yeah, like obviously the Grand Slam, but there was also a Tula one in the ALCS where I remember watching on TV, and like
Oh my
it
god, I
was
know
deafening for the
exactly. I know
TV.
exactly which one you're talking. Yeah, the Cueto one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Man, some of those are different, man. Playoff ball is different. I can't wait till we get to the playoffs. We do our playoff episode. That's gonna be so much fun. We do like our those playoff episodes are gonna be so fun. Those playoff games are gonna be so fun, man. And honestly, the races too, man. The races too are gonna be so hype leading up to that. I can't wait. I can't wait
Yeah.
till we're in September and we're really getting division races and those games start to feel like playoff games. We had a
And here,
few so far this year, but it really starts getting like that
look,
in like late August, September.
here's the thing. If you want playoff previews and predictions and going in and going in depth for every postseason series this year, you've come to the right place. I'll tell you
We're
that
gonna
much.
lock in. I actually cannot wait because like, listen, here's the thing. You know, right? You remember when I would send the pictures of I would have however many games on my laptop and I have another one on my TV.
Oh
You
yeah.
remember with I think it was the first game that came back after COVID. I had one on my TV. I had four on my laptop. I remember I sent that shit to the
Oh, I
Discord.
remember that.
I remember I
Yeah.
sent that shit to the
I
Discord.
remember I remember once, I think it might have been opening day like last year or something. I had like literally like 8 or 9 games on at once,
It
like for
was
all the games that were going
it
on.
was
Like it's
ridiculous.
just
I've learned to limit myself and how many games I'm watching at a single time because like if I have like
yeah.
5 games on, I literally can't focus on one thing and I'm missing all this and that. So I'd limit it now to like 2, sometimes 3, but at like a single
Yeah.
time. But I can't.
Also, want to
That
hear a fun Schwarber thing that I forgot about?
what do you got?
He is homered in every single postseason series imaginable. The NL wildcard, the AL wildcard, the ALDS, the NLDS, ALCS, NLCS, and the World Series.
I
He's had a
think
home run
I
in.
remember seeing that not too long ago. Actually, I remember seeing that in his tweet.
Yeah.
And fuck, now he's got the fucking All Star Game swing off added to his thing too a couple weeks ago or a month ago.
There's actually a another one that has done something similar. There's a pitcher who struck out a batter that I'm now seeing in every single series,
Ooh.
and including a game 163.
Oh my,
Do you
who is
know
it?
who it
No,
is?
you know what? Hold on. Is this like a relatively recent player?
Retired 2019.
He retired 2018. Okay.
Relief pitcher.
Oh, it was a relief pitcher. Okay, I'm glad you gave me those hints because my first guess was gonna be Zach Greinke. Who am I say? Who am I gonna say here? Retired relief pitcher, 2019. This is gonna be a ridiculous answer. I can already tell, isn't it?
I don't like. He was very good. He was a very notable player.
Fuck, who could this be? What relief pitcher just got on a Hall of Fame ballot like a year ago? Or wait, was he on a ballot? Not like did he get votes, but was he like on the ballot?
Yes.
Okay.
I would love to say he was. Oh no, he definitely was.
What was his primary team? Give me a hint.
Uh, primary team.
Like
I personally think of him most as probably a Mariner, maybe a Tiger.
Mariner or Tiger? Huh. Who could this be?
He played the longest for the Tigers, but his best season came with the Rays, though.
Yeah, you got me stumped right now. I can't even lie.
He had a signature celebration after a save in which he would shoot a
Archie Bradley. No, not Archie Bradley. Fernando Rodney. I don't know why I said Archie Bradley, and I fully
because archery.
I was fully like envisioning. I actually had one in my head, an fucking Archie Bradley, Fernando Rodney. Why do I keep? I don't. Why do I keep saying Archie Bradley? I was fully envisioning him.
They look alike.
Yeah, totally. I was fully envisioning him in the Rays uni doing that, and I still said Archie Bradley. That wasn't even a bit. Like I fully meant to say Fernando.
I guess it would be. I would say Rays more known for than Mariners. The only reason I said Mariners because I remember seeing a TikTok of like a commercial of his, where it was like it turned into an edit. It was him on the Mariners. And he shot the arrow, and then I forget who it was. Someone said, "Oh, where do you think that's going?" He's like, "You know, it's not real, right?" And then it shows like a fake arrow going into some A's fans like backyard for his kid's birthday party, and it popped like the bounce house, and then you just hear him yell, "Rodney!" And it was just that was so funny.
Man, shout out Fernando Rodney, man. That one was fun. If you've seen there was one actually I remember. I can't remember what year it was. It was like 2014 or something. I think he was pitching for Seattle this time, and he came in late into a game against the Angels, and I think Pujols and Trout, they had like back-to-back doubles off him. They got the lead, and Pujols and Trout, they shot the arrows at each other.
Yeah.
I remember that. Man, shout out Fernando Rodney. That man was electric.
Yeah.
That man was electric. We need more Fernando Rodneys in the league, because that man was fun. I love Fernando Rodney.
Could you imagine Fernando Rodney? If you could, like, Fernando Rodney right now, 2025, as a closer, with the light shows and the entrances that teams do.
Oh my
and
god!
Then hits the arrow. Could you imagine?
Fernando Rodney, if he was in with those kind of light shows, he would probably be like a top 3 relief pitcher in terms of just straight up aura. I think the only I think the only one that would probably have him beat is maybe Edwin Diaz based off of his entrance alone.
I don't know, the Duran one, man.
The Duran one was crazy. In all fairness, but I don't know, man. Rodney's just like that, man. I would love to see Rodney with like modern day like pitching intros. That would be so much fun to watch. That's a guy that you don't cut to commercial for, if that's the intro coming in. I remember when they first started doing that for Edwin Diaz, where they wouldn't cut the commercial and they would just let you watch the thing. That was so perfect because I love that. That man.
That's one of the coolest things in sports. I love it.
And they got the mascot playing the trumpet and everything. That's beautiful.
Yeah, you got Mr. Met and Mrs. Met sometimes.
That's beautiful.
Mrs.
You know
Met,
what? I'm not gonna lie. I miss.
DMs are open.
That's crazy. You remember the video of Mr. Met flipping somebody off? You remember that?
Yes, I do. That was awesome.
That was such an elite video, man. I remember that I used to see that as profile pictures for Mets fans so often. What year was that? Like 2018 or something? I think that was when they were like low key in the trenches.
But yeah, it was like a fan was like chirping him or whatever, and he just hit him with
it. The guy turns around and flips him off. That's got to be like top 3 mascot moments of all time in terms of baseball. That's a top tier mascot moment. I actually love that. I think we need more unhinged mascots like that. I would love to see.
You know what another top 3 one has to be?
What is it?
Remember the Raptors' old inflatable mascot?
Yes, I know.
Do you remember when he ate the cheerleader?
Yes. Yes, I remember that. It like deflated and it like fucking fell. I remember that shit, man.
Man, I was something.
Man, we need more unhinged mascot moments, man. I'm trying to see more mascots flip off fans, man. I'm trying to see.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm trying.
that's
I'm
part
trying
of
to
the
see a
game.
mascot.
That's why you show up.
I'm trying to see a mascot like throw something at a fan, like start a fight. I'm trying to see a mascot throw hands. I'm actually really trying to see that right now.
All right, hear me out. What if you had like a UFC card, but with mascots, like some of the most popular
Ooh.
mascots? Like the main event would be like the Fnatic versus Blooper in a 5-round bloodbath.
That would be kind of amazing. Imagine the Red Sox. No, hold on. Yankees Red Sox, right? In Fenway, the Red Sox mascot starts throwing hands with the Yankee fans on the road. Or I guess the Yankees fans would be on the road. He
Yeah, because
starts
the
throwing
Yankees don't
hands.
have a mascot, so they would just be a fan. I would nominate. Actually, I'm not going to name names because I don't want to start problems here in our third episode. But there are some Yankee fans I'd love to see get in a fight
Man,
with some mascots. I'll say that.
man, I'm trying. Listen, I'm trying to see mascots starting to box it out. I listen. If
Yeah.
imagine the clips going around, if fucking the Fnatic just started throwing hands. Could you imagine? Imagine the Twitter posts. The Twitter posts would be ridiculous. That would be some elite postings. Elite shit postings
Yeah.
on Twitter. That would be kind of insane. I low key need that to happen. Can we get that in the next CBA? Can we have like a? Can we add that to All Star Weekend? We have a mascot boxing match. Push the push the All Star game back a day. You have the Futures game the same day it happens.
Oh my!
And then-
I have an idea.
What is it?
WWE style Royal Rumble. Every single mascot gets called random order, whatever you generate it. And at one point, there's just probably 15 of the mascots in the ring at the same time, just duking it out. We need that.
What do we do for a team that doesn't have a mascot? Like the Yankees don't have.
They have to send out one of their players as voted on by the fans.
As voted by the fans.
I don't know. I mean, we'll see. Or grow up and get a mascot. That's what I have to say.
What if? I can't say I know anything. I can't say I watch wrestling, so I don't know anything about like those intros. But have you seen that video of the guy? Surely you've seen it. It's the guy. There's the casket on the truck, and the guy walks out of it, and he starts like dancing. And there's the guy recording on his phone. What if we bring back the old, like late '70s Yankees mascot Dandy, and he comes in on that kind of energy?
Oh my! Like comes out like the Undertaker.
Comes out like the Undertaker.
You hear the bell. Everyone freezes. Everyone's like shitting their pants. It's like, what the hell's happening? He's back.
You see Dandy back after like 40-something years. He was
back at All-Star Weekend. Oh, that's emotional.
And that's how you get him back. It would be really anticlimactic.
And then, yeah.
It'd be really funny if he got knocked out round one. But man, if he won that, yo, that would be some business right there.
Yeah, I like that. That's just, I don't know. That would definitely be fun. We need some stuff like that. We just need mascots duking it out on the field. Sometimes if the game's boring, let's say it's like 0-0, and there's like 15 combined errors. I mean, you're watching, I don't know what you'd be watching if that's the case. Probably not Major League Baseball. But then it's like, all right, I'm done with this. And the mascot just goes out and starts beating a random fan or something up.
Just a Malice in the Palace thing. Just baseball with mascots.
Some kid says something, looks at him funny, and then just gets like rocked.
I think if I had to pick a mascot to win that, I think honestly I'm picking this mascot. I don't think it's close. I'm picking the Mariners Moose. I think he's got that.
Wait, are you talking about the actual Moose or the guy on Twitter?
No, I am not talking about the guy on Twitter who probably needs to be put into an institution.
That's near than we're not getting into that on this episode.
Yeah, we're not getting into that. This is not the MLB Twitter episode. No, I'm picking the Moose, man. The Moose has got it. Fnatic, I'm sure is up there.
I feel like the Fnatic's come on. I'm gonna go off I don't know if it's off the board. I'm gonna say Dinger because he's a fucking dinosaur.
Ooh, that's a good one. Under the radar.
He's pretty cool. Like, I don't know.
Under the radar pick. Because he's technically not official mascot. The Angels Rally Monkey. He could get some business done.
That's a good one.
He could get some business done. He can get some business done. Yeah. Can we make him the official mascot? Can we get that done, please?
Yeah, I think that needs to be done.
I would love the Rally Monkey as an official
For sure.
I'd be honored to have a Rally Monkey as my mascot. That'd be kind of amazing.
I mean, yeah. I mean, look, there are sources out there that I have heard that said if they kept the rally monkey, Trout would be in the playoffs more. That's not me saying that, by the way. That's from like
He might
league
be.
executives.
He
So
might be.
the Angels just need to say, all right, we're bringing him back, official mascot. Let's go. See you in the postseason.
He might
And
be.
he's there. I mean,
He might be.
Angels down by 3. Trout's up with the bases loaded in the ninth, 2 outs. The monkey comes on the screen. Everyone's going, for lack of a better term, bananas. And he hits one out, grand slam. They win. Everyone's going nuts. The monkey's going nuts. Everyone's loving him, and you know
Also
that's baseball right there.
Also another sleeper pick, Blooper, the Braves mascot.
I think if you did a tournament style, I think a blooper fanatic final would be like
That would be cinema.
That would be like
so cinema.
That would be actual chills. I'd have to say.
I can like feel the goosebumps, like slow. I can feel myself slowly getting goosebumps. Just
I'm like The Rock. I'm slapping my arm right now.
Slapping.
I'm feeling them. I'm feeling the goosebumps.
Feeling the goosebumps.
But unfortunately, I don't know if Rob Manfred wants that on his hands. So Rob, if you need someone to do it for you, we're your guys.
Listen,
that's all I'm saying.
Rob, if you need some new ideas up there in the commissioner's office, hit us up.
Yeah, we have some very good ones.
We got some ideas here. I think we know how to do it. All right, Ethan, is there anything else that's really pressing that you want to be talking about today?
Well, considering we talked about mascots being the shit of each other for the last 20 minutes, I'm going to say I think that should wrap it up.
I think we're good. All right.
Yeah, I think we covered what we need to cover.
Yeah, that'll do it for today's episode of Down the Line. Not quite as long as last week's. Honestly, I hope we don't do another 3-hour one for the next little bit, because that one was kind of tiring. Especially considering we didn't even cover all the trades. But
too.
We actually.
Hey, but look.
We did a few lightning rounds, and it was still 3 hours.
There are growing pains. You can't expect your first couple episodes of your first ever podcast to just be like, oh, wow, this is perfect, not a single thing that went wrong. Obviously, there's some growing pains. We thank everyone for bearing with us here and just, listening. Again, whether it's, 5 minutes, just one particular part or the whole thing, we appreciate everyone who, spends their free time with us.
Yeah. If you're still here, you're still listening, you heard everything we had to say. All the stuff we talked about, the Roman extension, the kind of Cinderella run potential for certain teams this year, the whole owners thing, mainly Artie Moreno, our Hall of Fame talk, our Kyle Schwarber discussion, our Kyle Schwarber glazing at that.
And the most important thing of all,
the mascot boxing matches or wrestling matches or whatever. If you listen to any of those,
that's up in the air. We haven't decided what it'll be yet. We'll
we don't know. It'll be something, I'm sure. When Rob Manfred hits us up, we'll figure it out. But if you listen at any point, if you're still listening, thank you. Hats off to you. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Down the Line. We will see you again next week. Take care, everybody.